Like you've seen me online as Elaina Wang. I'm now Elaina Wang Garner. And the Keto Wang is my Facebook page. You will never catch me on YouTube or TikTok or just in general talking about peptides on the internet because I'm not one of those people. I've been pretty quiet about it. Also because I don't want to get banned. That's the thing. So the button. There we go. So we're going to take this back. You guys know my recent history. Let's take this back. So that first one there, that is me at about 10 years old. That was my mom's shirt I was wearing for my school picture. I come from childhood morbid obesity with a side of trauma, abuse. My mom was fabulous. It's like me and my mom against the world, honestly. And my little sister, too. But the middle one, that was the last school picture of me that was ever taken. That was 7th grade. And I was pulled out of school at that point due to being too sick to meet the attendance requirements. So my mom pulled me out, did a little bit of homeschooling. I had no time to go through everything. I had mom twice, which led to Epstein-Barr syndrome, which led to chronic fatigue syndrome. My mom was an in-home daycare provider. And we were bound by the federal food guidelines. So that was what happened to me eating the federal food program that our household was bound by because it was an in-home daycare. So the next one, I was 16 there. I was really drunk, actually. That was my 16th birthday. So I got my GED at 16, and at 15, addiction really started to take hold. By about 10 to 12, I had been starting to get into trouble, but by my teen years, bad news. And I was as wide as the door. That door is a big farmhouse-style glass door, and I was standing next to it. I was as wide as the door at 16 years old. It's pretty crazy. So that was my GED graduation. Again, I had just turned 16 when I got that GED. My mom took the picture in black and white because I had rainbow hair, and she had to show my grandpa. And then the next one, that's a doozy. That is about 2008 or 2009. That is super heavy into active addiction. Still that. And I was a meth addict. So when you hear about meth addicts, tweakers, I dabbled in everything. The only drug that I never touched was cocaine. Heroin. I did a lot of cocaine. I was heroin. So that was me in active addiction, well over 200 pounds. And the reason was because in those childhood pictures, obviously I was severely insulin resistant. We think I became full-blown diabetic probably at around 12 years old, knowing what I know now. I would guess that was the age, but they weren't testing kids back in the 90s. And so I would do drugs and binge eat sugar, like Hershey bars for days. And so I never got that skinny, sunken in luck. So through all of the drug years, I just kept gaining weight. I think I was like 270 pounds while still on drugs. And my mom knew something was wrong, but I would be like, oh, Mom, I don't do drugs. I'm too fat for that. Then it was valid because I was the only big one in the space. So it was a real thing. So 2014 hit. I hit 30 years old, and I was absolutely shook that I was even alive. I had no intentions of surviving my 20s. I was never suicidal. I just didn't think that with everything I was doing that I would make it. And I made it. So I was like, what am I going to do next? And I decided I was going to get clean. So when I got clean, it was brutal. I did it on my own with my husband. He's not on this cruise, but we did that together. That was pretty amazing. And I ended up deciding I wanted to check my blood sugar because at some point in active addiction, I was diagnosed as type 2 diabetic. I was about 24. So I ignored it because that's what you do when you're not clean and sober, healthy. And the first blood sugar check that I took was 426. And I was like, all right. So I was easily over 300 pounds. I had stopped weighing because I was binge eating while coming off of the drugs as well and just ballooned up so big. And I had asked, of all places, an essential oil group that so what can I do to control my blood sugar naturally? And the owner of the group was like, girl, essential oil, I'm going to cut it. She sent me to a keto group on Facebook and jumped down that rabbit hole. That was my first ever rabbit hole into the health space, was how do I control blood sugar naturally. I didn't want to go to the doctor. Full disclosure, at that current time, I also still had warrants for my arrest, which have been completely resolved. We're good. But that first one, so I took that at my mom's, and that's when I noticed that I was actually losing weight. And I had never lost weight in my entire life. This is not something that had ever happened. And then the second one there is sitting on a tree in Oregon. And I was like, wow, this is really working. I was feeling great. I was walking, I was moving, and that was amazing because I had never really done anything like that. And then, so I stopped losing weight, but I was happy because I was staying stable and my blood sugar was amazing and I was getting healthier and I felt great. I was like, what can I do? What more can I do? And at one point I had been, my birthday's around Christmas. I was at my parents' and I was basically cooking every high-fat keto dairy recipe that you can come up with and eating the whole thing and also drinking very large amounts of vodka. And I ended up with pancreatitis. So that was not smart. But I quit drinking vodka the day that I was admitted to the hospital for that. And I was like, okay, so now I don't drink alcohol. Obviously, I'm going to start to lose more weight, right? That has to be what's holding me back. I also quit the high-fat dairy recipes. I'll eat dairy now on occasion, but nothing like that. And it was like, what was it? The fathead dough, the cheesecake, so Carrie Brown's old school ice cream cookbook. I don't know if any of you remember that. But yeah, I was like, we made 5 batches of ice cream that year for my birthday. Don't do that. And then there's Lisa. So Lisa, she's not on cruise, but she's a really good friend of mine. She was trying to help me with the high protein aspect of keto. So this is when I really started to change things. So I did the high protein, Maria's protein sparing, attempted all of that. Drop the fat, higher the fat, fast more, do more, work out, go. I tried everything. And I was actually a coach at this point. I started coaching 10 years ago now. Kept going and explore. Then I started traveling. Now I'm completely addicted to traveling the world. And the baby goat is adorable. And then there's the unicorn. But you can see I just wasn't making progress. And this is years between this. I'm 12 years in now. And healthy, still fat keto, and obsessed with traveling. So that one, that's from Thailand. That's Tiger Cave Temple. And if you've never heard of that, you don't casually just walk Tiger Cave Temple. That's people die attempting to go up that. And my husband and I did it. No problem. I had to stop and breathe a couple of times, but we survived. We did well. Walking, hiking, working out, but I still wasn't making progress. And then I learned about peptides. So here we have it. Finally, progress is finally happening. So this is starting about the one I'm holding my little dog. That was 2024. So just in that time, this much has happened. This much progress. It's pretty crazy. Now the next one is not going to show any graphic surgical stuff, but it is going to show my pictures that my surgeon has seen. Basically nudes, but not. Basically nudes. So here we have it. That top one, isn't that creepy? I lost that whole Sakyant tattoo for Thailand. I have to go back and get it replaced. That first one was what I said to the surgeon. Because I was like, you know what, let's just do a tummy tuck, get rid of some of the skin, because the skin was really irritating me. I live in Las Vegas in the desert. I love hot work, so it was in my way. I didn't like the sweat. So then I booked this surgery, and like Michelle, he wanted me to get down to a certain weight. But I'm not left to lose. And I kept pushing, and I was like, okay, so I'm going to dabble with some new peptide stacks. And I started creating different protocols and cycling through various and assorted peptides. I would do 3 months and then take a break and then introduce a new stack. And I ended up getting down to that bottom picture where you could see significantly more skin and less fat. So when I sent that to my surgeon, your surgery has completely changed. And he's like, you have nothing left to lipo. But we're going to do more extensive surgery. And then, of course, after that was my 3 months post-op. And like, look at my scars. So yeah, it's a half of a journey. Keto changed my life. Of course, getting clean and sober 100% changed my life. But keto changed my life. The low carb community changed my life. Facebook, and then peptides. It's constantly evolving. And I remember back in the day when the keto space was like the peptide space is now. Remember all of the influencers, all of the hardcore meta banning people who spoke anything about it. And here we are today revolving when it comes to peptide. But it's really important to understand that this is a little bit more serious. So this isn't just changing your diet. So be really careful where you get your information and make sure that the proper education is there from the people that you're listening to. I know that Michelle stressed that, but we just see so many messes going on right now that it's just so important. Don't play with cellular medicine because it's legitimately cellular medicine. Now, I'm at the minute mark. This is great. This is my last slide. So these were all taken last month, Symphony of the Sea. I got married on this ship just last month. My the carries now. That's my favorite wedding picture of my husband. He's not on this trip because he's not low carb. He's not keto, none of it. And the one on the end is interesting. As you can see, I have my whiskey. Yeah, she was the only one on social media that caught that. I was like 0 alcohol from 2021 until I think in Greece in 2025. And what I found really fascinating, and it's probably thanks to the GLP, is that this isn't something I would test with clients. This is my own N=1. I didn't spiral when I drank. I can put it down, and I can have a drink, and I don't obsess. And I don't get wasted, and I don't do any of the habits that I used to do. Now, don't test that unless you know yourself and can trust yourself. But yeah, that picture of me is so fake. I don't gamble. We're in the casino. I don't wear makeup, and I'm wearing makeup. I don't wear meals. Yeah, fakest picture of me ever, and I'm out of time.